Today, we're going to talk about something that's at the heart of pretty much every international team or global project, and that is how we communicate. Specifically, we're going to look at this huge difference between cultures that value group harmony above all else and those that champion the voice of the individual. So let me just throw this out there right at the start. What do you think leads to a better result? A team meeting where everyone just kind of nods along in silent agreement, or one that's full of passionate, even heated debate? Now, you might have an instant answer, but it's really not that simple. And the way you answer that says a lot about your cultural background. All right, so let's get into it. We're looking at what you could call a tale of two teams, really. And this isn't about one person liking to argue and another being quiet. Nope, this goes way deeper. We're talking about core cultural values that tell us how to act, what our role is, and what success even means when we work together. So on one side, you've got this approach where the group is everything. The main goal, harmony, consensus, making sure everyone moves forward together as a single unit. But then, on the other side, you have a totally different idea. The individual's voice, their unique ideas, their opinions, even their objections, is seen as the most valuable thing. It's the fuel that gets you to the best answer. And as you can imagine, these two mindsets create completely different worlds at work.
Okay, let's start with that first one, the goal of harmony. And there's a perfect concept from Japan to help us understand it. It's called wa.
So what is wa? Well, wa is basically the Japanese cultural idea of social harmony. It's a huge deal. The whole philosophy is that society just runs better when the group's needs come before any one person's desires. The goal is to keep things running smoothly, to avoid conflict for the good of everyone. And here's a perfect example of what that looks like in an office. In a traditional Japanese meeting, it's super rare to see a junior employee flat out contradict their boss. And look, this isn't just about being polite. It's about respecting the group's structure and that all-important harmony. To challenge a superior openly would just create friction and mess up the wa. So if there is a disagreement, it's handled very, very carefully, and usually not in front of everybody. So what's the result of all this? Well, you might walk into a meeting and see everyone nodding, seemingly in total agreement. But they might have their own doubts they're just not voicing. Now, this approach is fantastic for making sure the team sticks together and everyone feels like part of a cohesive unit. But, and this is a big but, there's a flip side, right? It can sometimes accidentally shut down those crazy out-of-the-box ideas that can lead to major breakthroughs. All right, now let's flip the script completely and look at the other side of the coin. This is an approach you'll see a lot more in many Western cultures. We're talking about the power of debate. Here, the whole philosophy is turned on its head. The basic idea is that a good, healthy argument isn't a threat to the team. It's actually what makes the team stronger. People are often taught from a young age to speak their mind, to share their thoughts, because the belief is that that's how you find the flaws in an idea and make it better. It's all about getting to the strongest possible result. And this really shows the difference, right? You might see colleagues really going at it, debating passionately during a meeting. To an outsider, it might look like a fight, but to them, it's just work. It's a normal, healthy part of figuring things out together. It's not personal, it's not meant to be disruptive, it's just a tool to get the job done right. So, what do you think happens when you take these two completely different styles and stick them in the same conference room? Yep, you guessed it. It can be a total recipe for disaster, or at least a whole lot of misunderstanding. This is exactly where things get messy, because you can have two people watching the exact same interaction, but they're seeing completely different things. It's like they're interpreting the same behavior through totally different cultural lenses. So, for example, a manager from the West might look at a quiet Japanese team and think, wow, they have no ideas, they're not taking any initiative. Meanwhile, a Japanese colleague could be watching a Western team debate and thinking, this is so aggressive, they're disrespectful and out of control. See? Both sides are just totally misreading the signs because they're using their own cultural playbook. And this, right here, is maybe the most important point of all. Neither of these styles is better or worse, right or wrong. They're just different. They're tools designed for different jobs. One's built to create a super cohesive group, the other's built to get the most out of every individual. The key is to stop judging and start trying to understand what the real goal is. Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we get past all the misreading and actually work together? How do we turn this potential for conflict into a real strength? Well, it all starts with looking under the hood, past what you see on the surface. you have to understand the why. So in Japan, the goal is to make the group work like a single, perfectly smooth unit. In the West, the goal is to let every single person's individual talent shine so it can contribute to the whole. Two different paths to get to a good outcome.
And that brings us to a really simple but super useful 3-step plan. First, just watch. Observe how the team works without judging it. Second, try to figure out the goal. Are they going for harmony or are they looking for a debate? And third, and this is the hard part, adapt. Change your own style a bit to fit in and be more effective with that team. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if a team is quietly building consensus or loudly arguing. Once you understand the cultural why behind their behavior, everything changes. Seriously, it's a game changer. It lets you appreciate that there's more than one way to get things done, and it turns what could have been a misunderstanding into a real chance to collaborate. So that leaves us with one last question, and this one's for you. Think about your own team, your own workplace. What are the unwritten rules there? Are you all about harmony, that wa? Or is it more of a debate club? Figuring out your own team style is really the first step to being able to connect and work with everyone else.